Yo, we are here. The wait is over. I'm tired of waiting. Killer is tired of waiting. I know y'all are tired of waiting.
Yes, sir. We're here.
Debut episode of McCoy and Van Noy, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. I am one half of your gracious host, none other than Gerald McCoy, the 93rd wonder of the world, big chest from the Midwest, the one that never fails. I only thrive because I'm from the south side of the 405. And my gracious co-host is...
your boy, Kyle Van Noy. And I don't have a little rhyme. I don't have a little reason. All I have is that I'm a two-time Super Bowl champion. I am in my 11th year currently with the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm going to spit my game a little bit. I'm going to show you my side. And we're just going to get after it when it comes to this podcast. We're excited for this duo. I'm excited to get going. Wait. Let's go, McCoy.
Let's get into it. Killer. It's training camp. But forget all that. How you been? How was your summer? How was your off season? What you been into?
Man, my off season's good. I appreciate you asking. I just did it all, honestly. I got away from football, especially how the last season ended. I was like, forget football. Let's focus on the family. We took a lot of trips. We did a lot of trips. We went all over the world a little bit of here, a little bit of there. I went golfing everywhere in the U.S. I love golfing. It's what I do in the off season on my spare time. And then I got in the lab a little bit. I worked on some things because I'm now just strictly a pass rush specialist now. So I got after it when it comes to working on moves. How about you? What did you do? You know,
well, I tell you
what world did you go to?
This off season has been retirement off season for me. I got 2 college students now, 1 football transfer at Toledo. I have a daughter. See, let me tell you something about fatherhood. It's different when you drop off a son at college, but when you drop off a daughter at college, it hits a little different. My baby,
all right, did you cry?
Baby girl, I didn't cry, but I held it in.
I don't know. I think you did cry. I think you're lying.
Listen, right now, this is the first time that they will all see that it really hurt me. Like I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be cool and all that. Man, that's my baby girl. I dropped her off. She's at Houston. And I got the set of twins that are in the 5th grade. They the big dogs in elementary school. And I have a kindergartner, man. I have a kindergartner. I'm not that far off of being an empty nester. We went to Belize. We went to Greece. Man, we've been having a great time, but it is now football season. And preseason week 2 had a lot of storylines.
It's different during this time. You can smell the grass around, right? It's just different, listen, right?
A lot of what a lot of people don't understand is when you're a football player, you get literally an itch. You know when it's football season because the smells start changing, your skin start itching, and it ain't no rash. Your skin just start itching. You're like, God dang, why is my skin itching? I was in Florida. I'm in Texas. I'm all over. You start taking Zyrtec and Benadryl and all this stuff. You're like, what is it? Oh, I know what it is. It's football season. That's what it is.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had to take Zyrtec yesterday after practice because I was itching so bad.
Yeah, man. It get like that. But before we get into all that, I would like to let the fans know we are going to talk about a lot. But this is not your typical podcast. This is not your typical 1-2 punch. It ain't about us. It's about y'all. It's about information from y'all. But listen, we love the fans. We want you guys involved. We want you guys, we want to hear your questions. We want to hear your comments. We want to see your face. And how can you do that? You can send your questions, your comments in McCoy Van Noy at yahoosports.com.
Preseason week 2 was upon us, and it came and it went. And we're going to dive into the headlines. We just got to go in. We got to go for it. I think there was a lot of good stuff. I think we need to jump right to the Steelers. And I know before Gerald goes, I know this is a rival of the Baltimore Ravens. It's a rival. It is what it is. But I'm not going to sit here and discuss and make it anything of what it is. So please do not clip me saying I said this, that, and the third. I'm going to say what I think is facts, and I'm going to go off what Mike Tomlin is. But first, Gerald's going to dive into what he thinks went on with the Steelers this weekend.
And I'm going to tell y'all right now, Killer is part of the family. So if anybody come and kill her, please believe. Gerald is
Yes,
on you.
sir.
Watch
Love
your
it.
words.
Thanks for having my
Hey,
back, bro.
tread lightly talking about my dog. All right. Hey, I'm telling you right now. Hey, all right. So he gonna be honest. He gonna say how he feel, and he's gonna base it off what we know, not know all because he got to play them. So don't be trying to. But anyway, QB competition in Pittsburgh. What did we see? Russell Wilson's first time out on the field, his first action. He's been injured, calf injury. I've had those injuries. I pulled my calf. I know it's hard to move around.
Too. They're the worst.
It's a little different as a defensive lineman because you're pushing off a lot. As a quarterback, obviously you gotta, push off your foot and you get that little torque in your leg and it hurts. And it hurts.
But it lingers too for a quarterback. Look at Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow.
And you beat it. What the scary part is let's go out of football. When Kevin Durant was with the Golden State Warriors and he came back too early from his calf, he ended up popping his Achilles. So you can't just rush back. You got to be careful with a calf injury. But Russ got his action. Here's how I see it. It's a little unfair to grade what we seen. You could see sometime when Russ got sometime he did a lot of check downs, didn't really create that much, but he also is O-line. The Steelers were supposed to address the offensive line in the first 2 rounds of the draft. They drafted 2 O-linemen. One of them is injured. The other one played. Center was getting killed. Broderick was, listen, what Greg Rousseau did to Broderick, you can't talk about it, but I can. He need to report him.
Greg's a beast, though. Greg's been coming
Greg
alive.
Ain't no joke, but Broderick need to report him. He need to call whoever he need to call in Buffalo, New York, and report him for assault. Because what he was doing to him, I don't care if it is preseason, that's a dang shame. You didn't even give Russ a chance. Russ got sacked 3 times in 5 drives. 3 times in 5 drives. And honestly, across the board, I think it was 5 sacks in the first quarter from both teams. Total. Wow. So really wasn't nobody blocking,
and I think that center is now out for a while. I think he tore his rotator cuff. So that's just another added piece that they have to solve in the puzzle. Like adding another center is going to be tough. There's not, it's not just a quick fix. I know everyone thinks that, but when you're hiking the ball like that's tough. And being smart to point out protections and all that, that's not an easy job. So that's a big piece that they now have missing.
Yeah, and when I'm watching Russ, I'm watching him. He's trying to operate, but he's really under duress. He can't ever get comfortable, and it's hard to get comfortable as a quarterback when you can't run the ball. It's very few quarterbacks who can operate an offense without being able to run the ball. They couldn't run the ball, so a lot was on Russ. He had too many check downs, couldn't really create because he can't run around. So where does that lead us? It leads us to Justin Fields.
Yeah.
At first, I seen Justin Fields come in at the 2-minute mark, and I'm thinking if we're evaluating quarterbacks, this is Russ' first action on the field. Why is he not getting the 2-minute drive? So I started thinking, Russ might have re-injured or tweaked that calf. Either that, or we can look a little deeper and say, let's get Justin Fields a 2-minute drive, see how he operates a 2-minute drive, and then he'll take over in the third quarter.
Yep. And what's crazy, too, about the Justin Fields thing with the 2-minute, he got another chance at the end of the game as well to, break away from the QB competition. But yet again, there was a couple breakdowns in the offensive line where they were getting back there really fast. And even on that 4th down where he tried to scramble out of it and kind of threw up a ball that ended up going out of bounds. He just didn't have time. But I want to mention something that Mike Tomlin said. I'm reading off the quote, so I know I'm not giving any poster board, bulletin board material. It was better in some areas, but still JV in too many others. Like as a player, when you hear that and knowing Mike Tomlin, I have a lot of respect for Mike Tomlin. When I hear that as a player, I know he said that to that group, not only the O-line, but the entire offense. Like as a player, when I hear a quote like that, I respect Mike Tomlin because he's not only saying it to the media. It's not like he's saying it to the media and not saying it to those guys' face. He's saying it to those guys and then saying it in the media. So for me as a player, I'm a little bit of the old school where that would piss me off, and like I need to do a better job, whether it's the offensive line, running back, receiver, quarterback, that would light a fire underneath me. Like, I got to show out. I got to do better. I got to do my job better. Am I doing everything I can possibly to make sure my job and my person isn't getting a pressure, or I'm running and hitting the right hole, or I'm running the right route, or as a QB, I'm reading whatever I need to read in order to get the pass delivered to who I'm throwing to. Like, that would light a fire under me. I don't know how you feel about that, but just hearing like a coach say that, I would take really, I wouldn't have alligator skin on that one. I would really take that personal and try to do whatever I can to make myself a better player.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin from what we've seen over him in his coaching tenure, Mike Tomlin is not the one to get in the media and say something that he didn't say to the team. Mm-hmm. Whatever he's saying to the team, I guarantee you it was 10 times worse what he said to the team than what he said in the media. Mike Tomlin's going to protect his guys, but he's going to keep it a bean too. He's going to keep it 100. But like you said, as a player, you got to take that personal. Because this is me. If I'm ranking divisions in the NFL, all across the NFL, you guys have the best division top to bottom.
Easy. It's not even close.
It's not close. So how are we going to compete in this division, a division who had 3 playoff teams last year, and we playing like that? Joe Burrow's back. Baltimore ain't going nowhere. If Deshaun Watson is half of what he used to be, this Cleveland, but that defense, we can't play
and
like
the weapons that they have, and then potentially a Chubb coming back from injury, they're a problem.
We can't play like this, so we got to be better. But if I'm picking based off what we've seen, I have to go with Justin Fields. He gives them the best chance to win right now, because if this O-line doesn't improve, you need somebody that can extend plays. You can open the playbook with this guy. We've seen what he's done in the open field. He can run past the defenders. He can make plays with his feet. I mean, he needs to be a little more accurate, a little more poised, but when he gets in trouble, he can get out of the situation. Whereas Russ, this is what Russ used to be able to do. He's not doing it as much anymore. Russ is holding the ball too long now. And then with a calf injury, he really can't move. So I'm not saying that either one of them played great. I'm saying it's the lesser of two evils. If you have to pick one to help you win right now, to me, this is Gerald's opinion. I'm going with Justin Fields. He just played better overall. He just did.
And you have he's had more reps in this new system that
Russ ain't even been practicing.
Arthur Smith from the Falcons got let go. He's now the OC up there in Pittsburgh. I also think too, you got to look at Arthur Smith's track record, right? Mm-hmm. Who has he had at quarterback? He really enjoyed Marcus Mariota and then had Ryan Tannehill. Both players that can extend plays, run around a little bit. Mariota was a little bit more of a running quarterback than Tannehill was, but I really think he likes Justin Fields' ability to run around, make a play, putting that run offense. They want to run the ball. Arthur Smith loves running the ball. I remember when playing the Falcons 2 years ago when I was on the Chargers, I was really impressed with that run game he had with Cordell Patterson, who's also with Pittsburgh now. And I think he wants to incorporate that in Pittsburgh. And I think he can do that with the Justin Fields, and then opening it up for George Pickens to really get the catches he needs to get. But I think he likes Justin Fields right now. I just don't think they like where the offense is at a whole right now. And I expect them to get it fixed, right? Mike Tomlin doesn't mess around. He is somebody that is going to do whatever he can to get that fixed, and he's going to do it fast. Yeah,
and I'm interested to see which route they go with. But last thing on this, they got to find a way to draw plays for George Pickens. They got to find a way to create plays for this guy. He's too dynamic, too talented, too gifted of a receiver for them not to find plays to get him open. He can get open, but they're not.
And two, you got to think, somebody else on the other side has to, help him out, right?
Yeah.
He's going to get doubled a lot this year.
Sure.
So the others that they have on the team are going to have to step up to take pressure off George Pickens, because it's going to be hard for Pickens to get targeted a lot, I think, when he's going to get doubled by everybody. He has showed that he can be a true number one, and I think he's going to have a lot of attention this year. It'll be interesting to see who steps up for the Steelers. I think that run game going back to is going to have to it's going to have to show a lot.
It's preseason week 2, a lot of great storylines, but wait, before we get into that, let's hear from the people who keep our chains moving. We'll be right back. Talk about dynamic young receivers, talented receivers. As a guy up in Jersey or New York, however you want to look at it, for the Giants named Malik Neighbors. This guy is phenomenally talented. We don't know what he's going to be as a receiver moving forward, but his talent level, his explosion, his hands, his ability to get open is incredible. But he's in the same situation. Daniel freaking Jones. Oh my gosh. Listen, Daniel Jones, I know you ain't played football in a long time. I know this. But it's preseason, week 2. Why the heck are you throwing these passes that you're choosing to throw? That pick 6 was, he been in the league, this is 6 years.
Yep.
That pick 6 was college level, like rookie level stuff. I'm trying to make something happen, and I just don't want to. In the preseason, this is what you're doing. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, both picks weren't very good.
If I'm a Giants fan, yes, I'm worried. I understand it's the preseason. It's like, it don't count, whatever. But doing that's unacceptable. Those types of throws are unacceptable, man. And that trying to finally put people around you, trying to improve on the O-line. The O-line actually played better. The O-line was blocking well.
Protection used to be sketchy, and I feel like it's been a lot better in the preseason. They had he had time on both throws. The one that Stingley picked off, that was just the underthrown ball. Stingley, he's been playing really, really well the last 2 years with the Texans. I mean, he was he blanketed the receiver and just went up like a routine, like he was the receiver on that one. It was just, I didn't like that throw. But what comes back, Gerald, that I keep coming back to when thinking about this Giants situation is Brian Daboll and the Hard Knocks situation, where you had a little insight of what was going on. And I keep going back to Brian Daboll when he was asked about Daniels, and that he didn't even flinch when answering about trading up to get him. And I wonder that level of, Daniel Jones hearing that. I'm sure he watched it. I'm sure he got texts about it. He's admitted to, not being happy with it. Just that being out there, I wonder if that has affected him a little bit, because, it is the part of the business, but, your own head coach blatantly says to the audience, like, I want to trade up for Daniels, who's the Commanders' QB. Like that to me, it sticks out more than anything, just because, it's still going through this process of, Daniel Jones throwing 2 picks in preseason that weren't very good picks, but it just keeps coming back up to light that Daboll, the quarterback coach, was like, please draft somebody.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because with this being the type of podcast where we don't want to just be analysts or evaluate the surface level stuff. Let's talk about the psyche of a player.
Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's talk about the psyche thing.
We just heard my guy Tua.
Thank you for bringing up Tua.
Yeah,
that's exactly where I was headed.
Yeah.
The psyche of a player, there's nothing better for a player to produce than knowing your organization believes in you. You're comfortable at this organization because they believe in you. A personal situation that happened with me when I ended up leaving Tampa. What was the tipping point for me? And I've spoken on this, but if this is the first time you're hearing it, all you Tampa fans, I'm going to tell you what happened. At the end of the 2018 season, Jason Light did an interview about, all the GMs and the coaches, they do end of season interviews, the exit interviews. and they asked about Jameis Winston. And Jason Light said, Jameis is our guy. We love Jameis. We want him here. He's our future. Blah, 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 this, and this. That's what you're supposed to say about your quarterback. Fine. They asked him about me. Well, we got to look at the tape. Everybody gets evaluated. You know, this, and this. And I'm like, been here 9 years, facing a franchise, all these Pro Bowls, all this. I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
So at that point now, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, they finding a way to push me out. All right, if that's what we doing, then that's what we gonna do. So when I'm talking about, when you bring up Daniel Jones and his psyche, when he's hearing his coaches, they're on Hard Knocks. They know they're being recorded. They have to agree to this. It ain't like they got caught or somebody leaked some audio. They know that this is going to go out.
Yeah.
So when they're saying,
I'm gonna keep going on this topic about that, like confidence and withstalling in that confidence in you. Is I had a similar situation, kind of that Daniel Jones had a little bit, but I regained, or I want to say more like Tua, where you lost confidence. I had my position coach when I got drafted 40th overall, second round to the Detroit Lions. I would have my coach come up to me for my first 2 seasons and tell me, you're a good football player, but we don't know where to put you. And the first thought came to my mind was like, why did you draft me? Like, if you don't know where to put me, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then I finally eventually I start a little bit my 3rd season, get traded to New England, and I'll never forget it. I'm getting ready to do a punt drill, and Bill's, spinning his whistle, Bill Belichick spinning his whistle. And it's the first time me greeting Bill. I didn't meet with him. I literally jumped in like I was a regular player, didn't talk to him until that point of practice of punt. So this is like the middle of practice.
Right.
And he's spinning in his whistle, and he looks at me in my face and he says, Van Noy, I've always loved your game, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I always get my guys. And that, to me, gave me all the confidence world that I had. To me, he's the greatest coach of all time. He's the greatest defensive coordinator all time. Telling me, a player that I just had a coach, didn't know where to put me. Then I have the greatest coach saying, like, I know exactly what to do with you, and you're one of my guys. Like, that was insane confidence builder in me. And I don't know if Daniel Jones has someone like that right now.
Yeah.
And I hope he does. I hope somebody gives him that confidence, as well as it's always on the player. But to have, like what you said, an organization behind you, especially when you're getting paid that much money, especially in New York, where you have the fans and all of that distraction already against you.
For real.
I hope Daniel Jones comes out of this on the other side. I really do. Just not when we play him later this year, but I hope he does.
Yeah, for sure. And another example of that is Baker Mayfield. Had all the issues in Cleveland, had injuries. They up in the air about what they gonna do with him. This, and this. He ended up in LA, went to the Rams, got off the plane and won that game versus the Raiders. But
awesome story.
When he gets to Tampa, it's a QB competition. And he wins the job. And I did an interview and I talked to Baker. Baker said, and he let it be known, I was injured. I'm healthy now. I've actually had an offseason to train, prepare, and he went out there and he performed. You know what Tampa did? They re-signed him and let him know, you are our guy. We want you to be the guy. We believe in you. And you get what you got from Baker Mayfield. And now he's there. He's comfortable. I've been there. I've been watching him. He told me out his own mouth, there's no better feeling than knowing you are wanted. Than knowing they are happy to have you here. So now Baker is playing stress-free. He's got his guys. They brought everybody back. And people don't understand the psyche of a organization letting it be known they want you as their guy. That's why, and we gonna get into it, the Cowboys. There's a lot going on in that organization.
I know. I was gonna say
Bro.
you rallied real good into that segue of wanting to be that guy. And how do you feel like you're that guy or feel like you're wanted? You have to what? Pay me. Right? That's how we're wanted, right?
Give me my money. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. Yep. That is what it's about. Hey, listen, the Raiders named their starting quarterback. Minshew Mania is QB1 with the Raiders. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's the right choice? You know, Aiden O'Connell, he battled the last game versus the Cowboys. I didn't think either one of them played particularly well. I think they kind of just went with the vet, the guy who's played more games.
This is awesome because Minshew showed me something in that preseason game that I don't know if very many people picked up on, and I hope when you clip this, you can put, the plays next to it. But Minshew, when he had his first series, he had a play action crosser that he ended up having the post wide open and ended up throwing the crosser, and it should have been picked, but it got batted down. That series didn't go anywhere. But on the next series that he got, they ran the same exact play, and Minshew went over the top.
Yep.
To me, that's not only showing the development of a QB1, but somebody that wants it, right? He's going to the sideline. He's reading his tablet. He's like, oh, the safety's jumping the crosser. Coach, let's run it again. Coach runs it again. Hey, I'm going to hit the post. To me, that was like the point of he is going to be QB1. That was like the deciding factor because it's hard when you're in a game and you miss that and have another opportunity. You're going to see if that team fixed it. They didn't, and he took advantage of that. And to me, that's probably why one of the reasons why he became QB1 is because of that little series from incomplete, learning from that, run the same play, go over the top, and getting into a scoring situation. I think they got 3 points, but they were down there in a scoring position. To me, that showed me that Minshew was ready to take the reins and be QB1 there.
Yeah, and I mean, you can look at the numbers and say he didn't do this or he didn't do that, but that's a great example of what you're going to need in season is because what we call game day adjustments. You come in with a game plan. Okay. What happens if you game plan for what they're doing and then they come with a completely different plan than what you planned for? Game day adjustments. And you need a quarterback that can decipher, stay calm, not waver, make a mistake and say, all right, next play. Okay, let me go look. This is what I know what to do next time. If I get this look, I know what to do next time. And Gardner Minshew has that experience to be able to do that. And I believe that's why AP said he's going to be our QB1. Now, I personally believe during the season they may trade for a quarterback to get somebody. Yeah, I think they might try and get somebody else in there. Just to have a backup.
So you think O'Connell's going to get shipped somewhere?
No, I think he'll be there, but I think they want to have a better security blanket. And if I'm them, I said it when I was there. I would have been tried to trade to get like a Jameis Winston or something. Like there's some quality backups out there. And I personally believe this. I don't know what you believe. I think the most valuable position in all of football is backup quarterback. Yeah. Because did you see Green Bay's offense versus Denver? Green Bay offensive line. Protect Jordan Love at all costs, because if he does not play, if he gets injured, it's over.
I'm excited to see Jordan Love. We travel to Green Bay this week and we have practice against Jordan Love. So I'm excited to see, his presence on a football field.
Yeah, me too. We got a lot more coming. We're going to pause here. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors who keep our chains moving. Stay there. We'll be right back. We are back. We are back. We are back. Killer, a minute ago we were talking, and we were talking about how do you make a person feel like they are wanted? How do you give them that confidence that this organization believes in them? And there's a lot of people around the league that have the answer, but they're not being given that answer. And it is, give me my money. So let's talk about, obviously, the biggest story out there because, I mean, America's team, CeeDee Lamb. Which I have to mention, he's from the University of Oklahoma. I'm going to say that a lot when you guys are listening to this show. He went to the University of Oklahoma, but whatever.
Hey, what's with the Spiderman, the black Spiderman post that he posted? I don't get that cryptic.
Well, I'm a superhero guy,
message.
if you couldn't tell. And so for all you non-nerds, give you a quick rundown of Spider-Man. You have Spider-Man and you have Venom. Well, Venom is a symbiote, an alien symbiote that got on Spider-Man, and it turned him into an evil Spider-Man. So what happened is when that symbiote hit his suit, instead of being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, he turned into a demon. And he became the bad guy. So when he
I didn't know Spider-Man like that. So
when he's posting that and he got that mask on, he basically let you know, hey, nice CeeDee Lamb is gone. Ooh. This is where we at now. So now
yesterday's price is not today.
It's not today's price. If you can argue, this is how I see it. I don't care what people say because a lot of people think Justin Jefferson is, some people say, is the best receiver in football. All right. There's a lot of different metrics you can measure.
Tyreek's pretty good too.
The number one player voted by the players was Tyreek Hill. All right. But Justin Jefferson makes the most. Okay.
But CeeDee Lamb's pretty good.
Apparently, what's being reported is they offering him $33 a year, which is right under Justin Jefferson. You can argue CeeDee Lamb was the best receiver in football last year.
I agree with that.
So what he's saying
I'm on that bandwagon too.
What he's saying is, forget all that. We ain't doing that. Pay me my money. No, 33 is not enough. I want to be number one paid. I want to be number one. And CeeDee has all the leverage. You know why? Because all the reports, people that I know, people that were there at training camp will tell you, without CeeDee, that offense is very stagnant and they don't know what's going to happen. From what I'm hearing, when they went against the Rams in practice, when they got in the red zone, it was a bunch of nothing. And I love, seriously, and I'm not trying to talk noise, but I love Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is my friend in real life.
I love B. Cooks. Flamboski.
Yeah, me and Cooks training the offseason. I love Cooks. But Cooks is a complimentary guy. And
he's a good number two.
He's a really good number two. Like, if you got a guy and then you don't take account for Brandon Cooks, he will light you up.
Yep. He's going over the top.
There's no knock on Brandon Cooks. You bring in Zeke. Zeke is not the Zeke of old, but I think what the Cowboys realize is, for leadership purposes and short yardage, those tough yards that we need to get on those third and shorts, maybe even some fourth and shorts, we get in the red zone. Last year, they couldn't score when they got in the red zone. The year before, they could because Zeke would come in and get those tough yards. Okay, bring Zeke back in, but you didn't bring him back in to be the focal point of the offense. So where does your offense come from? The guy you're not paying. And I don't get why not. Okay, but then that leads to, what about the quarterback? He wants to get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. By the way, there's a guy you can argue is the best defensive player in football. He's going to want to get paid. But right now, your priority is to pay who our offense goes through. And it is CeeDee Lamb.
And he deserves that, especially after last year.
I just don't understand what is going on over there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss of what direction they're going. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean, rude, but where is it? Like, is it Dak? Is it CeeDee? Is it Parsons? I mean, I think about a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence who's been there and he's sacrificed his whole career, but ever since he was young. Where are they going?
Yeah.
Like, are they helping him? Are they helping Zach Martin, who's been all pro?
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Like,
he just is. Like
that whole O-line, they had one of the best O-lines for a whole decade.
Yeah.
And they didn't get they got into the NFC Championship once. Like,
no. They didn't go. They
didn't go.
They haven't been. And here's the thing. You can argue that the Cowboys roster, top to bottom, for the last 10-ish years, 15 years, they don't fall out of top 3 as far as roster talent, Pro Bowl, all pros, guys who get the job done. The Cowboys always got guys. They always do. But this goes back to their psyche. Okay, you're not paying Dak. You're not paying CD. How does Micah feel when it's time to get paid? Does he say, you know what? I don't even want to do this. I'm going to play my time out and I'm going to hit free agency. No, we not negotiating. We not doing none of that. I enjoyed my time as a Cowboy, all of that. But
so do you think CD forces a trade?
I don't know if he forces a trade.
Or asks for a trade?
He might ask for one, but that could be another leverage thing. You know, like, hey, y'all don't want me here. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
Get me out of here. But it's just like, I don't understand the whole Dak situation. We just had 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, 6 or 7, one of those in the first round. And this is before like pick 15 or something, like 6 quarterbacks. So obviously finding a franchise quarterback is hard to
Very
find.
hard.
So why not when you got one of the best in the league? I don't care what people say. Y'all can get upset, kill me, tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. I don't want to hear it. Dak Prescott is one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And he get over the hump. He hasn't gotten over the hump yet. My favorite player, and it pains me to say this. I know it pains me to say this. And I know y'all going to say, gee, that doesn't compare. But it actually does. One of my favorite players, or my favorite player in football, is Aaron Rodgers. He's won multiple MVPs, but what happens when he gets in the playoffs? He haven't gotten over the hump but once. Yes, he did it once, but for first ballot, one of the greatest of all time quarterbacks to keep getting in the playoffs and not getting over the hump, he doesn't get the same criticism that Dak gets. But Dak consistently is one of the best quarterbacks in all of football every year. I don't know what it is.
I haven't looked at it from that point of view.
But it ain't just him. It ain't just him. Look
so
at
do you
the
think
whole thing.
he should take a pay cut? He's already made a bunch of money. Like, you need to spread around the money, kind of like Jalen Brunson with the New York Knicks for basketball. Do you think, I'm not saying he's going to take a humongous pay cut, but do you think Dak is like, I'm trying to win, and I know that we need money to spread other places. We need Micah. I need CeeDee Lamb. Do you think he says, hey, like, I'm open to taking a little bit less?
I think he is, and I think he should. And I know a lot of people are like, what? Take a pay cut? Well, that's for certain people. Dak is one of those guys. He's America's team's quarterback. He has all types of sponsorships. That's what Tom did. Tom would take pay cuts in football because outside of football, he made so much. Dak makes a lot of money outside of football. So if you take a few less million within the game, you making it back on the outside. But then now that opens up money for Micah. That opens up money to pay other guys. It opens up money for CD. And you still get to be with your team. You get to be where you're comfortable. You get to be in your city. And you keep getting this opportunity to try and go after this ring. But whatever's happening in that building, we don't know. Me and you both have been inside of buildings. We don't know what's being said publicly is not always what's being said behind closed doors. And being a professional, you are a professional. I've been a professional. We don't say everything because we're advised by agents. And this is what the fans and people don't know. We get advised by agents. We get advised by the teams. It depends on how you want to do it. There's a lot of different ways. If you notice, CD has been even keel.
Yep.
He may post a little emoji or something like that, or like Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk was saying, man, don't believe everything you saying. This is what it is. Either it's these two teams, pick one. Like he flat out said what he wants. CD has been really, but now that he's posting this, whether it's cryptic or not, now we starting to see the switch in the energy. But we don't know what his agent is telling him. Hey, just stay calm. Because I know when I did my negotiations, I told my agent, I'm not holding out. I love to play football. It's simple for me. I'm just a simple guy. Either they gonna pay me or they not.
Yeah.
Give me what I'm asking for. I'm gonna show up to work. If you don't want to pay me, we'll cut the negotiations. I go to free agency. Somebody gonna do it. I would love to be here, but if you don't want to do it, I'm not missing football. I'm just not.
Yeah. You said hold out. CeeDee's holding out. So we got to talk about some that are holding in. We got to talk about Trent Williams, and you got to talk about Brandon Aiyuk, who's now holding in. I think he started holding out, whatever. I think they're both holding in. I mean, Brandon Ayuk's been working on the side, wearing Niner stuff. I think he didn't show up on time, all that. But, something that I've seen from this last preseason was Brock Purdy was he was kind of rushed a little bit, and a little bit was on that left side. So Trent Williams, been in the league a long time, been one of the top players, if not the top player for some people in the league a long time, especially offensive linemen. They'll tell you he's been the number one player in the NFL for a while, but he's been holding in. After you watched last preseason against the Saints with Chase Young running after Brock Purdy, that was on that, he would have been on that left tackle spot. How do you feel about Trent Williams holding in and, the Brandon Aiyuk situation?
Well, I'm another, all you did is give me another opportunity to mention the University of Oklahoma. Trent Williams, University of Oklahoma, obviously, whatever. But listen, Trent has been unquestionably the best left tackle in football for a while.
Probably you could say ever.
Yeah, and it's universal.
The most swaggy, too.
If you can be in an argument of one of the best of all time and still currently the best, man, listen. And that it doesn't matter. We know, cover Madden, CMC, we know who CMC is. But go watch the tape. CMC, even if the play goes right, he somehow finds his way to bend it right back left. Everything they do in the screens, whether Trent is delayed or whatever, he's always the lead guy. When Trent pulls, they get behind Trent. Trent brings an attitude.
Makes Purdy he makes Purdy very happy knowing that someone's not not coming around the backside.
Bro,
we almost had a pause moment right there.
Yeah. But Trent brings more than just his play.
Agreed.
He brings in whenever they show those videos of him coming out the locker room, it's two people. It's Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams, because they bring an attitude,
set the tone,
and they set the tone for what this team is going to be about. Whenever there's a scuffle or anything, and Trent show up, I mean, he cleared out. I seen a video the other day. It was some hyenas and some birds eating on a dead elephant. And all of a sudden, you just seen them all look up. And then they just all scattered and took off running. And one showed up. And all he did is look at everybody like, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what happened every time Trent show up during a scuffle. He come clear the spot and everybody like, hey, man, I'm good, big fella. You got it. Trent brings a certain type of attitude to the game and to his team, and a demeanor that team needs. And you seen how Brock struggled with Trent not being there, with CMC not being there, with none of his guys in there. It looks a little different when you ain't got your guys. So you ain't got Trent. You don't have Brandon Aiyuk, which a lot of people don't understand. America's number one receiver and who Brock Purdy's number one receiver is, that's completely different. We all agree or look and say Debo's the number one, the unquestioned number one.
See, I think, so you say that. I actually disagree. I think Brandon Ayuk's number one because of Brock Purdy.
No, that's what we saying the same thing. I'm saying America would say that Debo's the number one.
Correct. Okay. Sorry.
But Brock Purdy, with his play, says that Brandon Aiyuk is my number one.
Correct.
He get in trouble, I'm going to Brandon Aiyuk. So,
yep. And we saw that in the playoffs when he was throwing that thing to Brandon Aiyuk. It kind of made we came to its head that Brandon Aiyuk is Brock Purdy's number one.
So, as in the situation of Brandon Aiyuk, how do you go about it? Where's your mindset if you're in this situation? What are you doing moving forward? How are you communicating with the 49ers? Or do you think that, you know what? He really wants to be a 49er, but he just feels like they're not paying him. Where would your mind be at, and where do you think his mind is at?
It's an interesting topic, right? Because if it was to get paid, he probably would have went to the Patriots if that's all he wanted.
Yes.
I think you also have the Cleveland situation. I'm not too familiar with numbers in that or what was being talked about that. So you have the Patriots who are willing to pay you a shit ton of money, and then you have the Niners that aren't paying you that, and you're kind of in a stalemate from the sources out there or what you're able to read and find out. And for me, I think he always wanted to stay with the Niners. I think he has a number in mind where he's comfortable with, and I think that's where he wants to be. And for me, like if I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I got to understand where we're at as a football team. You have Fred Warner, who gets paid a lot of money. Bosa gets paid a lot of money. Kittle, who gets paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
You have Juszczyk, who gets paid a lot of money. Debo gets paid a lot of money. So you have a lot of players across the board that get paid a lot of money. I didn't even say Shadarius Ward, excuse me, I hope I said it. I'll just say his last name, Ward, who also gets paid a lot of money as well. So you have a lot of players on that team that get paid a lot of money. And if you're trying to win, you're going to have to sacrifice some money. So what are you willing to sacrifice in order to continue to be on the team you want and have the ability to continue to get to the places that you want to go to? And for the Niners, they're like, they've reported that we've already come out and, we've gave them more than we wanted to. So for him, it's just making the decision, do I take it or do I not? And I think at the end of the day, Brandon Aiyuk doesn't want to go anywhere. I think his family's there. I know he has a son. He's actually from my high school. He went to the same high school as I did at McQueen Lancer. Mm-hmm. So knowing him, he's about his hometown. Like he has that hometown pride. He likes that home feeling. And I just think he doesn't want to leave. And I just think he wants to get a little bit more respect from the team. But the team's also like, we have to also talk to Trent Williams too and give him some money. So to me, he's got to probably, give a little bit in that situation if he wants to stay. I would be curious to what you think.
Yeah. I honestly think he wants to stay. I think he wants to be with the 49ers, but he also seen what happened in the playoffs. He's seen his value. He knows what he means to the starting quarterback. And he's saying, we in California, these taxes ain't no joke. So y'all got to up this money. Like fans, when y'all read contracts and y'all see this much or up to or whatever, take into account when y'all saying, oh, he got overpaid or that's too much or this and this. Where does he play football? Little insight that y'all don't know. We get taxed every game according to where the game is at, not where we play, where the game is at. So if I play in Tampa, I get taxed for Tampa. But if I play a West Coast game in California, I'm getting taxed with California taxes. So he said, you mean to tell me I got all these games out here in California, this is where I'm going to make most of my money, and y'all going to cut my money short? I don't know about that. I don't know about it. I don't know. But we'll see. I'm interested to see, but I want to jump to the NFC South. There's a few things going on in the NFC South. One of your former teammates that you know, Matthew Judon, was with the Patriots, got traded to the Falcons. They also signed Simmons. Their defense is looking really good, but he's another person. Played well, getting older, coming off an injury. Still had 4 sacks, but coming off an injury, but looking for his money.
Yeah. So let's get into it. First of all, we got to play in the preseason game. I didn't personally, but we ended up winning. My guy T-Rob had a game-saving 2-point conversion tackle. So that was awesome to see. It's awesome to win and be around a group of rookies that was their first game winning. So that was fun. Josh Johnson was 11 for 11. He had a good game. It was exciting to see Josh. Man, he was with me in old Tampa. Ass. I think he's 40, just still hooping.
Josh still balling, man. I'm telling you, backup quarterbacks, they valuable, man. Josh he's staying around, man.
Yeah, and our young little wide receiver Wade is having himself a little preseason. He had him with the double move. And then caught a nice touchdown.
Baltimore be killing it in the preseason. Oh man,
it was
busy
awesome
in the preseason. Yeah.
But it's cool. I actually had dinner with Judon, and I love Judon. I'm not gonna say anything too personal, but I know he wants to get paid.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest reason for him leaving New England. He wanted to get paid. He didn't feel like New England was going to do it, or he didn't like how they were going about it. I know they ended up sending him a contract. I know he said that, but I believe it was more incentive-based, and he didn't like that. So I'm interested to see Atlanta. I know he hasn't got a contract. I know that they're probably trying to pay a couple other people down there that need to get contracts. But for him, I know he feels like he's wanted there. They traded him for a 3rd-round pick. And I also know he also had Chicago on the table. So, it's awesome that he got to pick where he wanted to go. He felt like Atlanta was the place to be. I gave him a couple spots because I love food. I gave him a shout out to go to Umi. That's in Buckhead. So anybody that's watching, if you want a good sushi, it's called Umi, U-M-I. It's in Buckhead. Very, very good. But I know Judon wants to get paid. But I also want to talk about something, too, from the Falcons that some people may have glossed over. It's got to be about Michael Penix. I didn't see him in the game. I was actually looking forward to seeing him. But it was reports that Raheem Morris came out and said, we've seen enough. We're good. We see what he's got. Now, to me, that seems a little like, like you drafted a QB high. He's not going to play in the regular season. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But are they hiding him from us? Do you think he's hiding? The coach and the organization is hiding Michael Penix from the fans and to see his game? Or what's going on with that?
I played for Raheem Morris, and he's very calculated. He is a straight shooter, but he's very calculated. Me personally, I think they've seen what they want from him. And with signing Kirk Cousins with all that money, and then Kirk coming out and saying, that's not what they said to me. Well, yes, it was extremely shocking that they paid me all that money, said I was their guy, and then went and drafted a quarterback. And then for Michael Penix to play how he's been playing, and the head coach to say, we've seen all we need to see, we good. I think he knows that if they let him go back out there and he balls, now you getting a lot of, wait, hold up now. Wait a minute. Are we sure Kurt is the guy?
Yeah. And I think it also goes back to that conversation we had earlier about the Daniel Jones thing and having the organization being behind you, Yeah.
And you don't want any distractions.
I think it's already going to be there the whole year, though.
Yeah.
He was drafted too high for it not to be.
And then if Kurt has any type of slip up, Kurt plays a bad game or whatever. Oh, is it Penix time? Is it should we put him in? I mean, they drafted him. Should it be this? Should it be that? So I do think Raheem is very calculated, but I think
Kirk was hooping before he got injured too, man.
Yeah, he was. And I think that's why they signed him. And I personally feel that they're trying to avoid as much of the nonsense as they can, because as painful as this is to say, I don't think it's going to happen because I'm a Buck and I'm biased. Atlanta has a great shot to win that division with all of the talent they have on that team. So they need to eliminate any distractions. Raheem Morris, I've been calling for him to be a head coach for a long time. I hated he came to the NFC South because now I got to root against you, but he's going to have that team on the right track. And
he's going to get his back from the Bucks, bro.
At NFC South, we talk about the Bucks. We're not going to say much about the Saints. We just mentioned Atlanta. Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young. I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to say it how I feel. Y'all were terrible last year. Terrible. Killer's still playing. He can't say this. I can. Y'all were terrible last year. So if y'all want to clip this and say who said what on the McCoy Van Noy show, Gerald said that the Carolina Panthers were terrible last year. Bryce Young, you didn't play well, son. you didn't play well. Dave Canales, I love what you did with my Bucks. I love how you showed the world that Baker Mayfield still can ball. You took what his skill set was and you let it shine. So hiring you in Carolina was the right hire. It was, because Bryce Young is talented. He's in the same mold of a Baker Mayfield, a Heisman Trophy winner, smaller guy, can move around, can make all the throws, can make plays with his feet. But he's just in his second year. And he ain't CJ Stroud. So why ain't he played yet?
Yeah, I think he needs more reps too.
To play football. It is extremely difficult to get better at football when you don't play.
Especially live reps, though.
Yes, it's not like we've seen him light it up. An example, the Raiders. They're one of the only teams who didn't do joint practices. So that's why we've been seeing the starting defense play in these preseason games, because they need to get live bullets versus other teams. Why is this guy not getting it? You can attest to this. There's a bunch of different speeds. There's OTAs, there's mini camp, there's training camp, joint practice, preseason game 1, 2, and 3, and then opening day, and then the speed just changes depending on the point of the year.
Yeah. Playoff speed.
That's what I'm saying. Practice is not the speed of a preseason game. It all picks up. Okay, so you're going to take practice reps and then go straight to opening week and expect him to play against another team and improve with no preseason reps? I don't understand it. But, hey, that's whatever. They going to do it how they going to do it.
Let's get into our Drive to Win, presented by Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL. Our first guy, we're going with Jayden Daniels.
Daniels.
What do we think?
He was named QB1 and deservingly so. Jayden Daniels, from what I've seen, man, Jayden Daniels throws one of the best footballs I've seen in a long time. He can make plays with his feet. He gives this to you. Can open this playbook with him, which is a big part of why he won the Heisman, why he got drafted so high. A lot of people thought he might have been the first overall pick, but what we see from him in preseason, operated the offense well, gives his team the best chance to win. I'm excited to see Jayden Daniels. Who you got?
Yes. I got Bo Nix. I think he's been methodical. I'm actually shocked he hasn't been told he's QB1 because he's been methodical in his drives. The other night, he had 2 scoring drives. I think he was just showing his poise. You know, he throws a really good ball, but also he can scramble a little bit. He's got a little athleticism to him. I expect him to be QB1.
Let me tell you this. We seen Patrick Mahomes make a lot of play. We did behind the back. Okay, we seen Caleb Williams do all the fancy stuff and all this. Hey, I got a rep for the big dogs. Elijah Chapman, undrafted free agent out of SMU. Did y'all see him walk that guy down? Hey, what? If you ever need an example of what it looks like, kids, forget all the excitement, the exciting things you see. If you ever need an example of what it looks like to go take a spot on a team, Elijah Chapman for the New York Giants. Just look him up on YouTube. I guarantee
I'll be shocked if he's not on the 53.
The first clip you see of Elijah Chapman will be him running full speed, running down a receiver.
That was an impressive play. And last, I got to go with him for my drive to win is Brandon Aubrey. The kick he made in the Dallas Cowboys. The kicker, 66 yards. He could have made it from 70 plus, they say.
I have to agree. And the way he kicked that, effortless. Usually you see it go over the upright. Man, that hit the net. He probably could have hit it from 76. But this has been our Drive to Win, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. But now, the part we all hate. We've all had a great time. This has been our debut episode, but we can't be here all day. Kyle got practice.
Hey,
I got to go get my kids.
We came through, though, G.
Hey, listen.
We came through.
This is the closing, and it sucks. But I want to say thank you again to our sponsor, Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. And a reminder, we want to hear from you, fans.
Yes, we do.
We want this to be the greatest show you've ever watched. we can only do it if we hear from you. We want your comments. We want your questions. We want to see your face.
Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.
Please.
Follow us.
So
Rate us.
So you mean tell me you on your phone all day? All day. You're scrolling and doing all this. You can't click and subscribe. You can't click and subscribe.
You got to subscribe.
We want to hear from you.
You got to rate us. And then you got to watch us on YouTube.
Please watch us on YouTube. But this has been McCoy and Van Noy, the debut episode. Stay tuned because I promise you, the tone will never turn down. We will never switch. We always stand at 10 toes and we stand on everything we say. We love you and we are out. We will see you next week.
Peace and love, everybody.